Welcome to Developer Day 2022. Thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you how exciting it is to be back with the developer community since I spoke at our last Developer Day 1 year ago. Developer Day is a special event for those of us on the ecosystem team because it's our chance to celebrate all of you, the developers and the partners who are working hard every day to solve challenging problems and build the best experience for our mutual customers. Thank you. You're the reason why we are here. We may have many different groups represented at Developer Day. I want to give a shout out to partners who are speaking at today's event. Thank you for your community leadership and for sharing your expertise. You'll also hear from product people and engineers who build the Atlassian developer platform. The event is for anyone who like to roll up their sleeves and create a solution. We are excited to see what we can build together. Before we get into the program, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Adarsh, Group Product Manager of Forge. I lead the Forge product team, and I've been part of this amazing community of builders from last year. I'm proud to share all the things our teams are working on to make Atlassian Developer Platform a delightful, easy to use, powerful platform for all the developers. Some of you may have been to many Atlassian developer community events, and some of you may be newcomers. With that in mind, I want to give a little background on what makes Atlassian developer community special, and why now is an exciting time to build on the Atlassian platform. For teams around the world, work doesn't happen in a single prescribed way. Open and flexible tools give teams the freedom to define what work looks like for them. At Atlassian, we believe that we don't have a monopoly on innovation. We innovate together with our developer community and partners who multiply the value to customers beyond what we ever could do alone. On the ecosystem team, the measure of our success is the developer community's success. We are investing in our APIs and developer platform to make sure that developers can contribute to up-level the capabilities of Atlassian products and build and sustain successful app businesses. A lot has happened since we stood on stage a year ago. 2 billion in lifetime marketplace sales, over 200 new Forge apps in the marketplace, 85 new partners in marketplace. I want to give a shout out to few those new partners: Klor, Ikotin, Gepson Software, Cody Labs. There are so many more. We're excited to welcome all of you to the Marketplace Partner Program. We also had a number of partners promoted to higher tiers this year, including some of the new partners I just named. Congratulations to all of your partners and your success this year. When we look back at what we have accomplished together, we couldn't have done it without the community. You provided your feedback to help make our products and our programs better. You trusted us to help grow your business, and you supported each other and made this a true community. I want to give a shout out to a few of our community leaders who have stepped up and given their time to making the Atlassian ecosystem a better place. Kudos to Remy Board of Collapsoft and John Note from Adaptivist for being part of the content committee to this event. They volunteered to help select the talks you will see and hear today. You would also recognize Remy from the Slack community he founded for ecosystem developers. We also want to give a shout out to partners who contributed talks to this event and the partners who go above and beyond to offer feedback, create educational content, and answer questions in the forum. The names on the list represent just a fraction of developers out there every day helping to make Atlassian community a better place. Let's start with a little bit of background. As more and more Atlassian customers have made the move to the cloud, the developer ecosystem has built a rich assortment of solutions to meet customer needs. A common thing between developers and Atlassian are customers. We both exist to provide customers the best value for their teams and help them to meet their unique requirements. We rely on the great work that you all do to bring our products the final mile to meet our mutual customers' varied and nuanced needs. And the customer teams using Atlassian products are diverse. There are many, many ways of working and many other tools they use. Customers rely on apps to link data, others as products and workflows across their organization, or to meet specific regulatory requirements, or to speed up productivity, saving valuable time. While the cloud ecosystem has seen tremendous growth over the past few years, we observe two obstacles preventing the cloud ecosystem from reaching its full potential. First is developer experience. Building a cloud app requires a different skill set from building a server app. It requires developers build their own external web service, which can be a heavy lift. Not all developers want to take on the responsibility of running a secure, scalable, always available SaaS application. Second is the increasingly high bar to meet the needs of enterprise customers. Compliance, security, privacy. Developers are already hearing these requests from customers. Customer expectations around app trust will only get higher. We believe increasing innovation and opportunity in the ecosystem is the best thing for our customers and the best thing for developers. But doing this shouldn't come at the expense of making developer tools easy to use or app security. The right solution has to check every box. With that in mind, I want to talk a little bit about why developers building their first Atlassian app are joining our community at a very special time. For one thing, it's never been easier to build an Atlassian app. With Forge, we are focused on creating a delightful experience and lowering the learning curve. You can conceive of an idea and build a prototype in a single afternoon. If you have a great idea, we want to lower the barrier to making it a reality. We are also opening up new opportunities for developers. We have more than 5,350 apps on Marketplace today. We believe that's a fraction of what's possible. We will cover a few of the new opportunities we are opening up in just a bit. And finally, you might look at building a startup on Marketplace and think cloud customers have increasingly complex needs. They're becoming more security conscious and more demanding about type of user experience and functionality they need. How can I meet those needs as a single developer or a small team? As a platform, we are thinking about how we absorb some of those complexity for developers. If you have a good idea, we want you to be able to get it in the hands of the customers quickly. And we want the platform to grow and scale with your business. Let's talk a little bit about what we mean by platform. A platform's strength comes from its unified nature. For customers, it creates a consistent experience across products. Data is shared, bringing important insights into focus. Our platform model allows all products to inherit Atlassian's investment in infrastructure, which is realized as an improvement in speed, scalability, and security. But these benefits aren't just for customers, they are for developers too. Extensibility is a core platform value, one that allows external developers and customers build into the platform itself. Apps inherit all the benefits that the platform provides. This is the vision we have for Forge, our cloud app development platform. We are unifying apps with the native platform, giving developers a secure, sandboxed, performant way to run custom code with Atlassian products. Forge standardizes the way apps are built, no matter which Atlassian products you're building for. Forge handles tasks like authentication and communicating with product APIs to make it easy to get started. Forge gives you the option to keep customer data entirely contained within the platform. If you need to egress data, Forge puts proper controls in place. In May 2022, we reached a major Forge milestone. Forge has now been generally available for a year. In that time, the Forge package has been downloaded by developers over 73,000 times, and developers outside Atlassian have built over 5,600 apps. The Forge changelog is now many pages deep, reflecting the cumulative changes and improvements shipping every few days. When Forge came out of beta, we knew we still had work to do, in order to fulfill the community's top feature requests. We have made considerable headway, and I'm happy to share that nearly all of the top feature requests post beta have been either delivered or under active development. We are committed to crossing more of these feature requests off the list in coming months. This progress matters to developers, but we're also thinking about the big picture. We have seen that some of the most successful marketplace apps are those who figured out how to meet customers' needs early, those who innovated first. We want to open more of those greenfield opportunities to give developers a fresh chance to build something completely new. Compass is a new Atlassian product we recently launched at Team 22. Compass is currently in alpha with a beta coming soon. We like to think of Compass as a mission control for engineering teams' distributed architecture. It creates one searchable location to see all of your components and their owners, how they relate to one another, and how to improve them. Compass is the first Atlassian product to be compatible with Forge from day one. This establishes a new pattern for the way we build, one where Forge extensibility is part of the fabric of Atlassian products. We know it's essential for teams using Compass to be able to bring their favorite tools. Compass includes integration to products like GitHub, LaunchDarkly, and Status Page. These integrations are all built on Forge. The door is open for developers to start building Compass apps today. In the future, we plan to support Compass apps on Atlassian Marketplace, but it is still early days. Today, Compass extensibility allows you to build tools to help your own engineering team work more efficiently. If you're a partner looking to explore the next frontier of extensibility, we encourage you to start exploring what's possible on Compass. Visit go.atlassian.com/Compass developer to get started. But we're not stopping with Compass. Looking towards the future, Forge will lay a foundation for extensibility across the Atlassian platform, creating one unified developer platform, no matter which Atlassian product you build for. Today, Forge supports Jira Software, Jira Service Management, Confluence, and Compass. But we are working with teams across Atlassian to bring Forge to additional products. With each new product we add to Forge, we strengthen our extensibility layer and create brand new opportunities for developers to build innovative apps. New products aren't the only way we are thinking about creating new surface area for developers. Forge enables developers to access new extension points in Jira software that haven't been able in cloud before. Custom fields are a Forge-only extension point being used today. Klog is a partner who have been an early adopter. Their popular custom field suite app gives users access to over a dozen easily configured custom field types. I also want to mention two more notable Forge-only extension points, which are currently under development. The UI modification module will enable apps to control selected Jira fields, providing more control and flexibility to extend Jira UI in many new ways. JQL function module will enable developers to create new JQL functions, creating opportunities to extend Jira search. Now let's shift gears and take a look at another future opportunity. In this case, we are redefining the context of Atlassian apps. We are currently living the age of mobile. Users of Jira, Confluence, and JSM are doing more and more work out of their pocket. Consider a few of the scenarios. An important customer account just responded to a time-sensitive ticket, and you're stuck in doctor's office. Or you lost your laptop on a work trip, but you still need to read and weigh in on a very important report. Or you're operating in an industry with extensive field team operations where the technicians need to access system on the go. Until now, users consuming app-produced content on mobile had a very different experience from users consuming content on desktop. Our goal is to enable the similar experience for app users, no matter which device they are working from. Introducing Forge Mobile. With Forge Mobile, apps can plug into Confluence and Jira mobile app experience. This is exciting because the mobile context opens brand new possibilities for app developers. Apps can help solve for some of the challenges of working while on the go. Up until now, apps have had limited ability to render on mobile. We are still early days with Forge Mobile, but we have assembled a team dedicated to this work. In the future, the Forge platform will allow developers to replicate their app experience across devices, with the platform absorbing some of the complexity. We are targeting an early access program by the end of the year, which will include a subset of components and extension points available on web. We'll continue to add more support for extension points as we work towards launching the mobile platform in 2023. We are still working with product teams to define what the early access program will look like, but we want the community's input. If you have a question or would like to talk about potential use case, our team would love to hear from you. Ping us in the Developer Day Slack. And with that, I turn it over to Neha. More and more large customers are moving to cloud or landing in cloud from day one. Neha will talk through what that means and how Atlassian is helping developers compete for these security-conscious customers.
Hi, I'm Neha, a newly joined Group Product Manager on Ecosystem Trust. I lead the product team that creates platform capabilities on our development platform to allow for building of secure and trustworthy apps. So far, we've talked about the opportunities to build new apps and the platform capabilities that support your success as developers. I want to talk about something slightly different, the customers who use and install the apps. Customer research guides everything at Atlassian. We constantly talk to customers, gathering insights, and sharing those insights back with the rest of the company. This research helps us decide what to build. It tells us if we are on the right track. We want to share some of our findings with the developer community, particularly what we've learned about some of our largest cloud customers. As more and more customers move to the cloud, the profile of our cloud customer is changing. More large enterprise customers are choosing cloud, and they bring with them more complex needs. These customers are security conscious, they're global, and they are from regulated industries like finance, healthcare, and government. For these customers, installing an app is not simple or easy. The journey to procure an app can be just as complex as the due diligence applied when purchasing their Atlassian product. This process may look familiar for some of the partners in the audience today. There are two distinct evaluation phases before an app gets the green light. First, the pre-vetting phase. In research interviews, admins tell us that they look for certain signals that tell them that the app is prepared to support a sophisticated customer. Much of this research happens on the partner website or in the marketplace. A partner likely does not know that they're being evaluated at this stage. Admins are looking to answer questions like, do I think this app is GDPR compliant? Do I think the partner is serious about security? What data does this app have access to? What does it do with this data? And many more security related issues. The next phase on this process is the security team review. If the pre-vetting checks out, the customers might contact the app partner and send a vendor security questionnaire. Some of these questionnaires can be very rigorous. Now imagine this customer needs to install 5 apps or 10 apps and multiply the effort both for the customer and each partner that they engage with. Does every customer put apps through this level of scrutiny? No, but more and more do. For every enterprise customer moving through our sales pipeline today, the customer will be installing Marketplace app in 4 months, 6 months, or 8 months time. Imagine the amount of effort that it will take going through this process and getting an app to be ready for installation on that instance. On one hand, landing in cloud comes with a lot of excitement and customers are ready to embrace a cloud native mindset. Cloud comes with seamless updates, more native features, and extensibility options like Forge. But cloud also comes with a shift in how customers think about security. The relationship with the app partner changes. It's not just, can I trust this third-party code? It changes to, can I trust this third-party code and the infrastructure where this app is hosted? Customers want to know about that infrastructure. They want to know what data an app has access to. Does the app store data? Where does it store this data? What does it do with the data? And does it meet my security, compliance, and regulatory requirements? Here's why this matters. If a customer cannot get the answers that they need, they will not install the apps. We see high rates of apps being dropped as customers move from server to cloud. We know our partners invest in making apps trustworthy. We want to make it easier for you to share your security posture with the potential customers. We want to hear from you what friction you experience when it comes to letting customers know about your security posture. We are working on ways to consolidate and make this information more transparent to the customers, including the marketplace, so it becomes more of a self-serve option. Another example is our extension of security self-assessment program. You can now opt in into sharing your responses with customers who are evaluating your apps. This is one way to equip the customers with the information that they need to feel confident about purchasing. We've only just started to test new ideas here and will continue to evolve and improve these programs with your feedback. So what are we doing to provide partners with the ability to meet requirements of our growing enterprise customer base in cloud? Our developer platform will play a key role. Forge is helping partners address security needs in a more transparent and enterprise-focused marketplace. Compliance certifications are one of the important signals that customers use to determine whether an app is trustworthy. But these certifications can be costly and difficult to attain. This year, Forge achieved SOC 2 certification. As part of the certification, independent auditors verify that Forge meets the certification standards in areas like disaster recovery, backup, and security. While building on Forge doesn't automatically make an app SOC 2 compliant, it does significantly reduce the effort for an app partner to achieve their own certification. Apps inherit the investments we've made in the platform certification, giving apps some of the requirements for free. Because of the off-Atlassian nature of Connect, we weren't able to provide benefits like this for developers on Connect, but Forge makes this possible. Let's take a look at where we are going next on Forge. In the near term, we plan to bring on Forge data residency, access narrowing, and multi-region FAS. In the future, we will make Forge ready for regulatory and advanced security requirements like FedRAMP, HIPAA, and bring your own key. Please note that HIPAA is already available for some Atlassian products today. We plan to extend compliance to the ecosystem platform as well. Also, in the short term, there are two changes you can expect to see in the coming months. First, we are updating the security guidelines for marketplace apps. Each requirement will include implementation details specific to the type of the cloud app, including Connect, Forge apps that use external services, and Trello Power Apps. Our goal is to give developers clarity about how fulfilling security requirements may differ depending on the choice of developer platform. We are also in development to add more information about data management and app security to the app listing page. Customers tell us that it takes far too long to locate this information today, and they can't identify which apps require an in-depth security evaluation and which apps are low risk. Including information about data management on the app listing page will help customers streamline app security evaluations. We want to understand the challenges you face today when it comes to building secure apps and communicating your security posture to customers. You may soon see an increase in requests for feedback in this area. We want to include the partner community early in this process to ensure these changes aren't just good for customers, they're good for partners too. In closing, app trust rests on three pillars. First, transparency and control, where we aim to provide our customers with the ability to see what data the app can access and control the surface area. Secondly, privacy and data management, where we want to help partners provide highest level of data protection with their apps. And lastly, security, to protect our customers and partners against any vulnerabilities. Each of these is essential for building a marketplace that serves our mutual customers. As your partner, Atlassian is committed to giving partners the tools and support to grow a secure and trustworthy marketplace together. I'll now pass the mic over to Tim for our final segment of the keynote. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tim Pedersen. I'm an engineering manager on the Forge team, or at least I was an engineering manager until recently. Because I'm excited to share that I've actually just begun a new role as Atlassian's new head of developer experience. Now, this is an exciting transition for me because I'm passionate about our developer community, and I'm looking forward to working more closely with all of you watching today. As Adash and Neha just discussed, we have a lot of exciting changes coming to Forge. However, I'm here to talk about improvements that we're making to developer quality of life. While we're hard at work on exciting new features like Forge Mobile and new products like Compass, we're also working on making the existing Forge platform more flexible and robust. And it's important that I stop here and acknowledge all of the feedback that we've gotten from partners. You've gone above and beyond to tell us about how your apps work today. Walk us through your architecture, what your requirements are, and what it would take to build them on Forge. And this feedback has been critical because we're well aware that marketplace partners are sophisticated software vendors in their own right. And we're building a platform that can support all of our partners' complex use cases. And that's been a challenge. To build the right experience for our partners, we have to think about the full development lifecycle, from running your first Forge command in the CLI, to listing your first app on Marketplace, to celebrating your first 1,000 customers. We're investing heavily to ensure Forge can support you every step of the way. So thank you again for your partnership in creating a platform that can provide a great experience for ecosystem developers and our mutual customers. To better understand what developers outside Atlassian experience, we've also been using Forge internally. You heard Adash talk about how Compass represents a new pattern for Forge-first products at Atlassian. So we put ourselves on the bleeding edge of testing this model when building out the integrations that come bundled with Compass. Now, Compass is a huge strategic investment for Atlassian, and there's a lot riding on its success. From the beginning, the Compass team was all in on Forge, but I have to tell you, it was not a sure thing. The Compass team was taking a leap of faith, just like many of the early adopters of Forge in our partner community. Compass were counting on the ecosystem platform team to build out what they could and what they would need to support these large-scale integrations, because at the time, Forge was still very new. And some of the feedback we heard from Compass will sound familiar to developers who've been working with Forge from the early days. For example, the Compass team requested increases to timeouts and platform limits. They also asked for better reliability of the platform and observability for their apps in production. They also requested the ability for multiple users to manage an app, which has been a commonly requested feature from our community. And they needed a more flexible runtime environment to run their code in. These are all items that have been top feature requests from our community as well. And I'm happy to share that improvements to all of these have either shipped, are in active development, or are committed on our roadmap. So in response to the requests around increased limits, over the last few months, we've more than doubled many of the limits and quotas that apply to Forge. Our function timeouts for all modules have increased from 10 seconds to 25 seconds. We've also doubled the size of the Amazon Lambda that your function is deployed into, which increases the memory available to your apps and also increases the virtualized processes allocated to your function, so they run faster as well. We've also been pushing the limits on Forge's data processing and storage capabilities. The size of a request you can process with a web trigger has increased a whopping 20-fold from 256 kilobytes to 5 megabytes, so that you can ingest and process more data with Forge. We've also doubled the limits on storage quotas and storage write operations, and we've increased the size of both the keys and the values you can store significantly to provide more flexibility for your storage options. And while we're excited about all of these changes, we also realize that we're going to have to keep pushing them to meet more complex requirements. So we're monitoring our service telemetry carefully and keeping an eye out for feedback from our partners. So if you have any thoughts on the new limits or quotas, or if you're running into any of them, please drop by the Developers Day Slack so we can discuss them and continue to improve the platform together. Now, alongside new limits, observability is key for partners running Forge apps at scale. And over the past year, app monitoring and observability has been a big focus area for us. At the beginning of the year, we released the ability for developers to view error and usage metrics for their apps in the developer console. This was a step in the right direction, but we knew that partners needed more granular visibility. By the time you watch this, we'll have rolled out the ability to filter Forge metrics by site. This improves the troubleshooting experience by allowing you to discover which customers are experiencing the highest number of errors. But we didn't just stop there. We know that metrics are great for identifying that a problem is occurring, but you often need logs to pinpoint the exact cause of a customer issue. Now, Forge's current privacy model requires partners to reach out to customers directly to grant access to their logs. However, Based on feedback from partners and some insight from customers around their privacy expectations, we've recently decided to invert that model and share app logs with developers by default. Customers can still opt out of log sharing if they want to, but we believe most customers are more than comfortable sharing logs if it helps partners better maintain their apps. So we believe this will be a better balance for everybody. Finally, we also know that developers need to be able to act on errors and anomalies right away, even when you aren't watching the Forge dashboard. So soon, we'll be introducing alerts, so you can be notified when error rates rise, even if you're not watching the metrics yourself. You'll also be able to overlay deployment events on the metrics dashboard, so you can pinpoint which deployments may have led to a change in behavior, which is problematic for your users. Now, hand in hand with observability goes reliability. It's great to be able to tell when an incident is occurring, but wouldn't it be great for incidents to occur less often and to be resolved faster when they do? We recently completed an audit of incidents that impact product APIs and the Atlassian marketplace. And we've heard from you that the response from Atlassian doesn't seem to reflect the impact that these incidents have on your businesses and customers. During this analysis, we found something interesting. The bulk of API and marketplace incidents fell into the lowest category of severity. We determined that that's because our severity definitions were originally designed around customer impact relating to Atlassian-built services, and they failed to properly take into account the impact of these incidences on our ecosystem. So when an incident manager was determining the severity of an incident, they often overlooked that impact and categorized the incident incorrectly. As a result, most of these incidents that impacted our ecosystem were being handled at a severity 3 or minor level. This lengthened the time to resolution because we don't necessarily page engineers for severity 3s, and instead they're handled in a best effort manner during business hours. This also prevented the problem from being escalated to engineering management because it obscured the true nature and volume of the impact. So as an experiment, we rewrote the definitions for our incident severity levels to accurately reflect the impact of these incidents on partners and apps. This seemed like a far better model because we know that in many cases, apps are just as important to the customer experience of our products as Atlassian-built features are. And when we right-sized those definitions, a striking pattern emerged. Previously, 3/4 of incidents were categorized as severity 3. But under these new definitions, 3/4 of these incidents were now medium or high severity, known as a Sev2 or a Sev1. Now, this is really important because the difference in Atlassian's response to a Sev2 or a Sev1 is huge. In these cases, a major incident manager, such as myself, will be paged and has to respond within a few minutes of an incident being detected, any time of the day or night, and on any day of the year. We then assemble a team by paging other engineers and work around the clock until the incident is resolved and any customer impact is mitigated. Now, reliability is a change that we're facing head on. And while change won't happen overnight, this is an important step to improving our platform and the processes that govern it. These definitions are now enshrined in the severity matrix that is used to assess all Atlassian cloud incidents, which means it doesn't matter where across the entire company a partner impacting incident occurs, it will be handled with the urgency that it deserves. In parallel, we're also examining our other reliability processes to ensure that in the future, fewer partner impacting incidents happen in the first place. So let's shift gears to another very important topic when it comes to developer quality of life, platform capabilities, and flexibility. There are many powerful, complex apps in the marketplace today. And when you choose to build on Forge, you shouldn't have to make trade-offs in what you can build. One area where we're heavily investing in is storage. Forge provides storage services on Atlassian's infrastructure, which is great for developers building apps that might need to store sensitive data, or for customers who are worried about where their data is going. Our vision is that for Forge, app data should never have to leave the platform. We originally launched Forge with key value pair storage and released encrypted versions of the same APIs as a fast follow. But we know we have a lot more to do. We've heard your feedback. You want Forge hosted storage that feels more like the databases that you're used to. So in the short term, we're investing heavily in continued enhancements to that same key value storage system to make sure that when it is a viable solution for your storage use case, that it stands up to your requirements. First up, we're working on custom schemas for your entities so you can define and persist rich objects. We're also working on more complex query capabilities, such as new operators and the ability to query values as well as keys, so that you can create and query more effectively the relationships between data that you're storing. And in the medium term, we're also evaluating large document, file, and media storage for Forge. We're also exploring access to storage metrics and providing database management capabilities, so you can better understand usage patterns across your customers and also operate directly on customer data when you need to. We're also investigating the feasibility of transactional operations for Forge's existing storage mechanisms as well. And while we believe that all of these improvements will make Forge storage a formidable NoSQL offering suitable for a wide range of complex apps, we do realize that for some use cases, you just can't beat good old SQL. So longer term, we do want to provide relational database capabilities for Forge as well. This is further out, but I did want to signal that this is the direction we're heading in. Next, I have an exciting announcement about some upcoming changes that will make Forge's core compute capabilities a lot more flexible. But to explain them properly, I'll first need to give you a quick primer on how Forge works under the hood. In Forge, your code runs inside a sandbox called an isolate, which is an isolation technology implemented in the V8 JavaScript engine. Now, this is actually the same security construct used to isolate iframes in the Chrome browser. This sandbox allows us to enforce security and privacy controls, which we can then pass on to customers as trust guarantees about what your app can and can't do. This isolate runs inside a low privilege Lambda, which itself resides inside a specially provisioned Amazon account that is hardened for hosting Forge functions, which we call a Forge shard. We practice defense in depth, so each layer provides various controls for enforcing the Forge trust model. Unfortunately, the V8 isolate layer has some differences from a native Node.js environment, and we've heard plenty of feedback from several developers that some of these differences make Forge counterintuitive to build with. The first problem stems from the fact that isolates are a pure JavaScript environment without the usual Node.js libraries. This means that standard Node APIs that you know and love have to be bridged or polyfilled by the Forge team before apps can use them, which is sometimes not possible for certain security-sensitive APIs. This makes solving some programming problems in Forge awkward or very difficult. Another limitation is that you can't fork processes or use non-native dependencies in Forge. This prevents you from using certain popular NPM libraries and native dependencies from outside the JavaScript ecosystem. And also, because the isolate environment isn't really Node.js, it's difficult to fully replicate the Forge environment for testing purposes, and some Node debugging tools behave a bit weirdly or just don't work at all. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm proud of what we've built, and there are over 200 Forge apps on the marketplace today running perfectly well in this sandbox. But it'd be brilliant from a developer experience point of view if there was some other way for us to run apps securely. And fortunately, it turns out that there is. Spurred on by feedback from our partners and certain technology advances in the underlying platform, we've now identified ways that we can shift to a standard Node.js runtime without sacrificing security. This means that Forge apps will have access to the same Node.js APIs, dependencies, and tooling that you're used to, and they'll all behave in the way that developers expect. We're calling this the Forge Runtime 2.0, and are targeting an early access program by the end of the calendar year. While we're still in the early stages, we are really excited about what this might hold for the future. The changes we're proposing have big implications for developer experience beyond just standardizing the Node environment, so stay tuned. We'd love to chat with you more about this topic, so please be sure to post your questions in the Developer Day Slack. We'll have lots of folks from the Forge team, including some folks working on the new runtime, hanging out there all week. Now, while I'm super excited about Forge's new, more flexible sandboxing technique and storage improvements, however, even with increased flexibility, we realize that it's unrealistic to expect every partner to be able to architect all of their apps just using the compute and storage primitives that Forge supports natively. By default, Forge apps run inside that sandbox that we just talked about, and this prevents them from sharing data outside the Atlassian cloud. This allows partners to easily build apps that customers can trust. But we realize you can also build trustworthy apps that do share data externally. And it's not really a question of good versus bad. It's simply a question of who is responsible for trust and security. For sandboxed apps, Atlassian takes on more of the burden of trust. For apps that aggress data, the partner is responsible for the security of any external services that process or store that data. And as proud as we are of Forge today, we don't expect every partner to be able to architect or re-architect their apps as serverless applications backed by a key value store. There are some primitives that Forge won't support natively for some time, and some use cases that will likely always need to share data outside of the Atlassian cloud. So while we're committed to improving our native compute and storage capabilities so that Forge can do more of the heavy lifting for you, we're also working on making Forge's data regress capabilities more transparent and easy to work with. You can choose to leverage Atlassian's trusted platform to appeal to the widest range of customers, or you can use Forge's managed data egress features to share data externally when you need to. Whichever you choose, we're committed to making the experience delightful for developers on Forge. Again, we'd love to chat with you more about this topic. So if you have questions or feedback about integrating Forge with remote services today, please do share them in the Developer Day Slack. So to sum up, if you're wondering whether you can use Forge for your next app, the answer is yes, you can build on Forge, and you don't need to build your app 100% on Atlassian hosting. We want you to be in the driver's seat with flexible options that allow you to make the best choice for your business and our mutual customers. But before we sign off, I want to say thank you, both on behalf of the Forge team and personally as Atlassian's new head of developer experience. Thank you for taking a few hours out of your day to hear what we have planned for the future of our developer platform and the future of our developer ecosystem. I've been a part of this ecosystem for many years, and I've seen it evolve. I've gotten to know many of you well and watched your businesses grow. I can still remember sitting around the fire pit with some of you at my first Atlas camp in 2010, which is a while back now. And I can't wait to share a beer or a coffee with you sometime in person and introduce you to all of the awesome new Atlassians working on improving our ecosystem capabilities when international travel opens up again. The Atlassian ecosystem is a true community. That's the source of our strength. Partners being partners, and partners who care enough about what we're building to join us and become part of the solution. So during this event, you'll hear from a few of those partners who are sharing what they've created. I hope this event is a chance for you to learn something new, get inspired, and meet a few new faces along with some old friends as well. And in case I haven't plugged it enough, we're really looking forward to interacting with all of you in the Developer Day Slack channel. So please send us any questions you have about this talk or anything that's on your minds. And with that, we'll sign off and let you head over to the next presentation. Thank you and take care.